Cool. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz. It's afternoon tea, and today in the studio I am joined with Megan Cummings. She is a lady from Cornwall. That's right, Cornwall. We're in Cornwall today, so we're all over, but today we're doing my hometown. Well, not my hometown, but where I live. So we're in Cornwall. So today, Megan, she lives in Cornwall, Ontario, of course, right? And she is 25 years old. She grew up with her father, and as her mother wasn't in her life. She has 9 siblings, and she works for a security company currently. And she was also in the military. She struggles with PTSD and depression, and she's going to share her backstory today with all of you. So, Megan, stage is all yours.
Okay, well, I was diagnosed with chronic PTSD and chronic depression. It happened shortly after my birthday. I was getting really bad PTSD attacks. I was feeling really irritable. I was having intrusive thoughts because also with PTSD, you can also go into a depressive state. And I was feeling kind of suicidal. And I remember I was hitting stuff because I would have outbursts of anger. And that's a common symptom of PTSD. You have irritability, outbursts of anger, depressive states. And I couldn't take it anymore. I got some help. I went to the hospital. I spoke with a psychiatrist. I spoke with mental health crisis team. They got me on some medication. They helped me with counseling. It really helped. But how I got there, I had an abusive ex. He was emotionally and verbally abusive towards me. That was going on for 4 years. It took a lot to leave him. During that time, I actually had a guy break into my house, and he tried to sexually assault me. So that was kind of the breaking point when that happened. I started getting flashbacks of everything, started having nightmares. I wasn't really sleeping. That's kind of what happened there. And also when I was younger, I had some issues. My mother wasn't around, so that left me with feeling kind of hopeless. I didn't really have that mother figure in my life. I blamed myself for it. That's also a big part of PTSD. My PTSD personally. I mean, I didn't see it firsthand, but I feel it. And my father, I love him the best. I love him. He was my person, and he passed away about 2 years ago. That was a big hit. So a lot of things happened, a lot of stressors within the last 2 to 3 years, and that's what really brought out my PTSD. And thank God for psychiatrists and my therapist. They really helped me along. They really helped me get back up on my feet, because now I'm working, and I don't know where I'd be without them. All I can say is, if you're struggling with a mental illness, you should really seek help. A combination of medication, therapy, that's probably the best. It'll really help anyone. And if you're having any kind of suicidal thoughts, it's really important to talk to somebody. You can call the mental health crisis line. They're always there. They're really helpful. And you're not alone. Lots of people battle with mental illness. I think everyone to a degree has mental illness.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think everyone does. And just not everybody is open to talking about it. And I know how hard it is struggling with it firsthand. I know it was really hard to come forward. It was really hard to admit that I had a problem. I thought maybe I was just being angry. I thought maybe I just had anger issues, but that wasn't the case. I was getting triggered, and when I got triggered, I would hit stuff. I would just explode. And like I put my fist through a window, I put my fist in a wall. It's hard to deal with when you get triggered, well, with PTSD. And it's I can't stress that enough, that you need to seek out help and get the proper help, because if not, it can affect your life in every way. Job wise, you don't want to go to work. You're not sleeping. That affects your health. Your family can see it, but maybe they just don't understand what your mindset is, so they're affected by it as well.
So what tools do you use, Megan, with your PTSD? Like, is it journaling, writing, sharing? What tools do you use?
I like to write down lyrics.
Okay.
So how I'm feeling, I'll write it down into like a lyrical kind of song. I like to come out by the water here, just relax, listen to music. I personally need my alone time when I'm feeling irritable. It just kind of helps me calm down and really analyze how I'm feeling, what made me feel this way, what triggered me. Because a really important part is understanding what your triggers are and what caused you to feel this way and how you can kind of change it, because the world isn't responsible for your triggers. You're responsible for your triggers.
Exactly. You need to know your triggers, and you need to, triggers are good also, because it allows us to know that we still need that part of healing, right? We still need help with that. Not all triggers are good though, but some triggers are, because it gives us that understanding that, okay, this is still happening. Why is this still happening? Why is this still bugging me? Okay, I need to seek some help for this.
Yeah, I agree. Like I found out some of my triggers, like yelling is a big trigger for me. If I hear someone yelling, being aggressive, loud noises at night, considering I had a guy break into my house. So that's something for me. Like at night, it's really hard to sleep. And for a while, I was sleeping with a big knife by my bed.
Wow.
Like, I was checking to make sure the doors were locked twice. I was up to about 4 o'clock in the morning, like just trying to keep my mind occupied.
And that's something that I've noticed, because I live with PTSD as well. Nighttime is a hard time, right?
Yeah, it is. It gives you anxiety. Like it just makes your anxiety worse. And anxiety also is a big part of PTSD. Anxiety can be a trigger, right? It can make you feel the way you're feeling.
Do you find that the work field that you're in, does that trigger you at any time, Megan?
It does.
It does, eh?
It does trigger me. That's why I say, like, I'm really thankful for my therapist and my psychiatrist helping me along, because my therapist, she helps me understand the way I'm feeling, and the medication kind of helps these outbursts not happen so often, and it gives me a chance to kind of think and cool down. Whereas if I didn't have this medication, I'd be going from 5 to 10, like it just shoot up. I wouldn't be able to calm down. And once you get to 10, there's no rational thinking anymore.
No.
You're gone. And so I'm really thankful, because like the medication, it really helps me out. And working often, I have people yelling in my face. They don't like being told no.
Yeah, because you're a security guard, so people just don't like listening, right?
Yeah, especially to security. But I have
So
a power.
did you be, and were you diagnosed with PTSD after the army or before the army?
I was during the army.
During the army? Did that have some effect with your PTSD as well?
A little bit.
A little
I'd
bit?
say the yelling. But really, like they're pretty understanding, considering everything that's coming out now. Like nothing really happened that traumatized me in the military. I was mostly in training.
Okay.
And so yeah, I've never excuse me. I've never been to any wars or been deployed anywhere.
Okay. But
So
are you listed for deployment or?
no,
Okay.
I'm a private.
A private. That's good enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So during your episodes, when you're in a high, non-functioning, non-rational, is there anything that can calm you down? Like, do you have like an outreach program, like a wellness program written up? So if somebody sees you at your 10, that they can, do you have that? Have you given somebody that allowance to call for help if you're in that situation, or
Yeah, I have.
you have?
Um, Maybe like a couple months ago, it happened. I was feeling really depressed, and I actually had police come to my door. I was pretty mad when they came to the door. Like I wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah.
And they actually brought me to the hospital. They're really like, I kind of black out when I'm at that stage, that I don't really remember everything. And it's hard to have someone try to calm me down, because honestly, I just need time.
Yep.
And like I can't, me myself, like I can't think of something to calm me down, not in that state.
Yeah, because what I want the viewers to understand is that when someone is at a 10 with PTSD, they're not themselves, right?
No.
We're not ourselves. And it's scary for us as well, because we don't understand what our body is doing. We don't understand what the brain is doing. We don't understand why we're being triggered so high, right? So you've had so many things happen to you in your life that do cause these triggers, right? And
Yeah.
I'm truly sorry for all of that you've been through. Like, but today you are a strong woman because you came forward and came to me and wanted to share your story. And I really, really appreciate that, because this is what we need. We need more people like yourself, Megan, to come forward and share these stories. That just because we live with mental health doesn't mean that we're a crazy person or, out of control person. We have our issues too. We've been through things. We've been triggered. We've had trauma in our life, and we need that voice. We need people to understand that mental health is just like a physical health problem. It's just the brain. We can't control it.
I agree.
So I really, really I truly appreciate you coming forward and saying, hey, can I share my story? Because this is what we need. We need more people like you, Megan, to come forward and share, so that people understand PTSD. Not that then they hear it, they say, oh, well, you went to war then. She didn't go to war, guys. She's been through war in different areas, different traumas, different things. You don't need to be shooting somebody to have PTSD. There's a lot of different issues behind PTSD. And I really, really appreciate you sharing today, and telling people, look this is what happened to me, but I'm not that. You don't walk around with PTSD on your forehead, Megan. You walk around a strong, incredible woman, because it takes a lot of strength to share your story, a lot. And thank you so much for opening your story on my platform. Like, I really, really appreciate that a lot. So I'd like to share a little bit more of your journey as a young lady who didn't grow up with a mom. What were the issues that you found were hard with not having a mom around? because I totally get that. My mom was hardly around, and it's almost like we're mirroring today. Like what you've been through, I've been through similar, but I have not been through what you've been through. And your story is your story, mine is mine. And not growing up with a mom as a young lady, how did that feel?
It was really hard. It was my father, like he did the best he could, but he wasn't nurturing in that sense. He was kind of the tough guy. He's definitely the father role, you know? And so I grew up really tomboyish, but it was honestly, it was really hard seeing a whole family together, like just out in public. It makes you miss that. It makes you want that. You're like, oh, I see that mom over there.
Yeah.
I want that. Why can't I have that? And it almost makes you turn inward and blame yourself, like, oh, what did I do that's wrong? And it's actually pretty normal for children to do that.
Yeah.
They blame themselves for what their parents have done or did, and it can lead to a fear of abandonment.
And that's also trauma, guys. Abandonment is part of trauma. You know, being left out and being neglected by a parent, especially a parent, because they're the ones who have created us. And for them not to want us, well, what's wrong with us? Like, why did you leave me? Why, you know, what did I do wrong that made you leave? You know? So we do, as children, like you said, we look inwards and we start blaming ourselves because we're like, what the heck is wrong? You know? But I'm really glad that you had your father in that. So
yeah, he was an awesome man. And you know, as a kid, I was a little brat, and
I think we all are, right?
Nicer. I definitely should have been nicer to him, but
yeah,
can't really go back.
So have you always grown up in Cornwall?
I lived in St. Andrews up until maybe a teenager, like 12, 13. Well, St. Andrews is right outside of Cornwall. It's like the outskirts. It's like a small town.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not from Cornwall. I've lived in Cornwall since 2014, but I'm not from Cornwall. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, St. Andrews is a small little town. It's really nice there, actually. A beautiful church. I used to go there a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite thing growing up? Like what kind of games and toys and things did you enjoy as a child?
I loved being outside. I was always outside. I was jumping on the trampoline I had in the backyard, going to the park. I was just always outside, roaming the town.
And it's beautiful here, guys. If you haven't been to Cornwall, come to Cornwall because we live like right on the St. Lawrence River and the scenery is amazing here. So I highly recommend it. Oh, you're at one of my good spots that I go to too. I always need to be by the water. Water recharges me. If I'm having a hard time, I gotta get my butt to the water. I'm like, nope, the water needs me. Yeah. And I wonder if that has something to do with PTSD, like anybody who suffers from PTSD, the water. I wonder if that has a connection somehow. Because I know quite a few people with PTSD and they all go to the water too. So
maybe it's just because it's calming and relaxing.
Yeah.
Just easy to kind of calm yourself down here. It's quiet.
So since we're on tea time, Megan, do you like tea?
I'm not a big tea fan. I like coffee.
I kind of figured it because I seen the Timmy's. I was like, oh, she's drinking coffee. I know she is.
Yeah.
I seen the Timmy's. I was like, no, she's a coffee girl. But then again, Timmy's does serve tea, so I was
do.
Yeah.
I'll drink Earl Grey once in a while.
Earl Grey. So do you have like any special memories with tea growing up? Did like people around you drinking tea or?
Well, my uncle, I think he was an uncle. I'm not sure, but he used to actually read tea leaves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm actually looking for somebody, if they can read tea leaves, reach out to me, because I really like to learn more about that. I'm big on tea and learning more on how it's made, how it's blended, how to read the messages. I'm big on everything with tea. So
Unfortunately, he passed away, but yeah, he used to read tea leaves all the time. I remember my dad telling me that to kind of predict his future. My dad would do it just for fun because he didn't really believe it.
yeah.
So,
Well, I do it sometimes. I'm like, oh, okay, that looks like a, because I see pictures and faces and things like in wood and water and clouds, right? So, and I'm like, I wonder if I put the leaves this way, if I move them around, I can get a little teddy bear, or I can get like a sky or something, right? So, what
yeah.
message would you like to give everybody, Megan, today by sharing your story?
Tough times don't last. They're temporary. And, you know, I can't stress it enough to go get help, seek help. It actually does help. I know lots of people don't want to. It's like, I think it's almost a fear. You know, they're scared to open up to someone, a stranger.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, they're professionals. They deal with it every day. They're used to it. You probably won't tell them something that they haven't heard.
Yeah, and they've heard quite a bit, right? So, is there
Exactly.
any services in Cornwall that have helped you?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Is there any services in Cornwall that have helped you with your journey? Like
Um,
CMHA or counseling services on,
yeah,
yeah,
I go to SD&G counseling. I still do weekly. Well, right now it's by
yeah,
phone, but yeah, they've really helped me out. I connect well with this. Well, she's not a counselor; she's more like a therapist. But I connect very well with her. We have a good relationship. I'm I feel pretty open to tell her anything.
that's good.
My
Yeah, I think
psychiatrist.
it takes a few times, right, before you actually open up. I know for myself, when I go for counseling, it's at least 3 times. I need the number 3 in my life is really strong. So I need to see you at least 3 times before I can say, you know what, I trust you enough to let you know everything.
Yeah, no, for sure. It definitely is hard.
Yeah.
But I find sometimes you'll come across this one counselor or this one doctor, and you just feel really comfortable with them, and you feel like you have that connection with them. And that's kind of how I felt with this lady. I just felt a really strong connection with her, and I felt really comfortable, and I pretty much opened up right away with her. But at first, when I went in, there was another lady in the room, and I didn't really open up. I
No.
was No, not with the other lady there. And as soon as I saw her one on one, I started opening up more, and she noticed that. So,
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm like, I don't know, I don't like you.
yeah,
So are you like an energy reader? Like you can tell, like when you walk in a room, okay, I'm going to be able to talk to this person, and this one, no, I'm not going to.
yeah, I think everyone can kind of do that, but yeah, it depends on the vibe I get.
Yeah. Yeah, that vibe, right? And then like, I'm not sure about you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So during this time with the virus and pandemic that's going on, is that a trigger for you, Megan?
Uh, not not really, because I'm still working and I talk to people almost daily. So working has actually helped me. It actually lets me kind of not focus on myself as much. I'm not overthinking. I actually have a purpose, like a job to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that actually has really helped me. And this pandemic, like, it's kind of worrisome, but at the same time, because of my work, it's been really keeping me on my toes and keeping my mind active. So I'm actually really thankful that I have this job.
Yeah. Well, and I think for the ones that are still working, it's not affecting them as much as the ones that aren't working, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you're sitting at home, you're overthinking, your anxiety is probably up. Um, I would say to people that are still at home and dealing with this, go out for a walk. Go out for a walk by the water, go out for a walk around the block. Just get out of the house. Get some sunlight.
Yeah.
Sunlight's actually proven to help with depression. Exercising. Like, I do push-ups every day. I like to work out a bit. That helps with depression. Listening to happy, upbeat music.
Yeah, music is a big lifesaver for anybody that suffers from any mental health, right? Music is, it seems to be the go-to, right? Either we write it or we listen to it, or it's almost like a safe zone, because when you're in the music, you're not dealing with the other stuff. You're not listening to all of that negative stuff, right? You're listening to a positive, upbeat song, and you're like, nope, not even thinking of you right now. Like,
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Megan, for sharing today. I really, really appreciate you stepping forward and that. And if anybody would like to know more on Megan, I'm going to get Megan to share all of her good stuff. I have shared her on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So if anybody would like to know more about PTSD or anything, Megan, can anybody reach out to you and talk to you?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love that. I could definitely talk to someone about it. You can see, I mean, everyone's symptoms are probably going to differ a little bit. Everyone experiences different levels of the symptoms, which is normal. But I'm definitely here for anyone if they want to talk to me about it, if they want advice, if they want help.
Well, thank you so much, Megan. I really, really appreciate today. And I got to learn a little bit about you and get to know you a little bit and know another person in Cornwall. So that's always good, right?
Yeah.
And who knows, we might cross paths again in the future somewhere, with all the incredible things that are going on in Cornwall. What I want everyone to understand is that PTSD and depression is not a sickness, it's an illness. And we don't walk around with them on our foreheads. We are who we are. We are incredible, strong people. And our stories need to be heard. And Megan, thank you again for sharing your story today and being brave and strong, because it takes a lot of courage to get out there. And if anybody would like to be on Tea Time with Miss Liz, send me a message and share and check us out on YouTube. All of my Tea Times are on YouTube, and my door is open for anybody. Men, women, children, I want you on Tea Time. So with that, thank you for joining me, and we will make a difference one cup of tea at a time.